world! Today I'm going to continue my top 5s of 2016 with eyeliners, mascaras, eyeshadows, and lips. Hey everybody, Shelly here, and today I've got for you the continuation, part 2 of 3 of my top 5s of 2016. If you missed part 1, which covered concealers and foundations and powders, check the down bar. I will link it below. And today we're going to do mascara and eyeliners, eyeshadows, and lips. And then the final installment will be skincare and primers, bases, and face makeup. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe, click that little subscribe button, and you will get notified when I post that video in the near future. So let's kick it off. The way I'm going to do this is to do them in reverse order. So 5th place first, going up to 1st place. And let's start with, what do I got here? I got lots of things here. Mascara and eyeliner. So number 5, the idea behind this is, you know, I could easily do a top 10 in every single one of these categories, but a top 10 doesn't really get to my favorites. The ones that if I could only take 5 of everything, this is what I would take. Like the ones I could not live without. So I really tried to narrow it down to the ones I reach for the most, the ones that even if something else has more sentimental value to me, I don't wear it as much as these other ones. So I'm trying to give you the ones that I use the most. And mascara is one of those categories that I could easily put a dozen mascaras up on a list. But, is this crooked? But I'm not going to, because you gotta narrow it down to some point. And number 5 on my list is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir mascara. And I really like this wand. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, which I do like, but that mascara flakes off on me like crazy. This stuff does not flake off. It's got a similar brush. It gives tons of volume, but it still also gives length. You don't have to do a ton of coats to get a nice look out of this. It's pricey, but it's the only mascara I brought with me to Chicago for Christmas when I went away for 2 weeks, and that's saying something, I think. So that is number 5 on the list. I will say that honorable mention, the one that was up against that, was the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes, which I do love, but I don't reach for as often, and I think it's a subconscious thing that it's so expensive that I just want to save it, and I know that that's terrible. It's going to dry out and it's going to be bad anyway, so I might as well just use it. But if I had to pick an honorable mention, it would have been the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes. That and the Marc Jacobs, they're just so easy and fast to get a good, thick lash look. Good. Number 4, we have another one that's volumizing. It is the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I've always had kind of a love-hate with this mascara. I love it in the sense that it's pretty reliable in the look that I get out of it, so it's almost like my default, but it's not my favorite mascara. The brush is just kind of basic. It does give a good bit of volume. It doesn't hold a curl terribly well, so that's a bummer to me because my lashes like to be straight. They don't like to curl, and even when I curl them, it's hard to get them to stay straight. So, I mean, I use it all the time, but it's not my favorite. I'm still looking for my holy grail, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that's kind of my default everyday go-to. So that's that. Number 3 is a pencil series. It is the Urban Decay 24/7 Waterline pencils. I should show you the one that actually still has enough of the pencil left to see the name. These are great. These are the only doggone thing that will stay in my waterline. I have moderately watery eyes, and nothing drives me nuts more than tightlining my upper eye, upper lid, and then at the end of the day seeing the black transferred down onto my lower lash line. Ugh. This does not do that. It's the only pencil I've found that does not transfer on me and doesn't wear away, and it's still there 14 hours later when I go to bed. So good stuff. I like it. Number 2. Now, number 1 and 2 are basically interchangeable to me. Eyeliner. I prefer a brush tip. This number 2 is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster 3-in-1 Serum Liner. You have to specifically get the color Ultra Black because the color black isn't really black at all. But it's a nice brush tip liquid liner. Can I draw a line? Ooh. It's a really nice liner. So it's a pretty much matte finish. It is not shiny. I don't like shiny so much. It's opaque. It's easy to use. The brush tip is great. It lasts really well. I've already got backups of this. This is actually my second tube of the year. I tend to reach for this more than my number 1 mascara just because it's cheaper, but not mascara, liner. But my number 1 liner, and this is not going to surprise anyone either, it is the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper. Again, it's a nice brush tip liner, not a felt tip, and it's got a nice, this is the most horrible looking lines you've ever seen, but just to show you like how it is on the side of the brush and on the main part of the brush, but they look so similar. I mean, they're literally interchangeable to me. I can use either one at any given time. This is the Physicians Formula. This is the Kat Von D. I love them both. They're a nice, opaque, black, matte liquid liner. Not shiny. Thoroughly enjoy. I would die without them, I think. Yes. Next up, let's rock out on the top 5 eyeshadows of the year. You know that I am a palette junkie, so these are all palettes of some kind. And to kick it off in the number 5 spot, we have the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Quad, and this is in Plum. And the reason I like this, her shadow formula I love. These are all super soft, pigmented, blendable, beautiful, and it's one of those things where they'll just give you a very reliable, beautiful look every time you grab this thing. And that's why I reach for it so often. I know it's going to work. I know it's going to look nice. It always looks nice. And I love it. It works really well. Coming in at number 4, we've got the Urban Decay Naked Smoky Palette. I love me a smoky eye, people. Love me a smoky eye, and this will give you a smoky eye, and it's beautiful. I really like Urban Decay's shadow formula, so I have lots of Urban Decay palettes. This one I reach for quite often, and let me show you a couple of my favorite colors. I think my absolute favorite color out of here is Armor. Now, some people complain, oh, just look at that. Some people complain that it's too glittery. I think it's fine. It's kind of micro glitter, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to do Smolder, which is like a purple gray. It's like a gray, deep, deep, deep gray, but it's got a sort of a purple shift. And then High is the highlight color I usually tend to go for. So here we go. High and Smolder, and my favorite color in this palette, Armor. Let me do this so you can see it just a little better. So yeah, I do reach for Naked Smoky quite often. It comes with a nice brush that I actually do use. It is in with my brushes. Good stuff. Coming in at number 4. Number 3 took first place in a lot of people's top lists of 2016, and it's not my first place only because I use the other 2 that are above it way more frequently, but I would say these top 3 are all equally loved. I just don't use this one as often. And it is, of course, the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I would never have guessed that something so warm-toned would be up my alley, but yeah, I love it. I love the reds especially. This whole half of the palette over here. This is my jam. Like, I kind of get obsessed and I go through phases where I wear nothing but this. I love that Venetian Red and Red Ochre are different enough to be used in looks on their own, but similar enough to work together. Cypress Umber, normally I would be sad that there's not a true black in this palette, but Cypress Umber is such a gorgeous, deep, dark brown that can lean cool or warm, depending how you use it, that I love it. It's super easy to blend and it does not like muddy out the way some darker colors do. The Tempera shade is my favorite pop of color. I just really enjoy. And Burnt Orange is what I very often use in my crease. I'm going to run out of fingers. Here, let's try it this way. All right. I got 5. God, I love this palette. So here we've got the Cypress Umber, which, see how it's just a nice deep dark brown. This is Tempera, Burnt Orange, and Red Ochre, I believe. Yep, Red Ochre and Venetian Red. This is the combo that I choose most often for an eye look when I use this palette. I go with Burnt Orange in the crease. I mix Red Ochre and Venetian Red in sort of the outer third. Tempera is the main wash on the lid and the inner 2/3, and then the Cypress Umber goes in the outer corner, blended into the crease, and that's my favorite eye look out of this palette. So, yeah, I like it. Number 2 on the list, I had to pick because I probably reach for this more often than any other palette in my collection. It is my sort of neutral everyday palette, and that is the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. I mean, it's nothing terrifically, like, exciting, but it just works so perfectly as an everyday palette. I like to use, let's see, Anaheim, one of my favorite crease colors of all time. I usually do a wash of Stark across the eye and use that as a sort of a transition. Anaheim in the crease. I do Punk in the outer V, outer 7 area, and then usually I pick Baby and I go in with that. I do have a Get Ready With Me with this palette with a look just like that on my channel. I will link it down below in the down bar if you are interested, but let me swatch just a couple of these that make up my favorite look, and it's just really nice for every day, going to work. It just works. So here we've got, let's see here. There is the Shimmer Baby. Here is the Anaheim, my favorite crease color of all time. Stark is just what I kind of wash my whole eyelid with to set my primer. And then Punk is just a really nice brownish burgundy, and it just works really well with these colors. So that is my most frequently worn palette and look from that palette of 2016. It's just a super easy look, and it's also a look that balances great if you want to wear a really bold lip. Go with a nice neutral eye, and it's super easy, and that's that. Palette number 1. This is probably not going to surprise anyone either. It is the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. Freaking great packaging, freaking great palette, big palette, tons of beautiful colors, beautifulness, awesomeness, mattes and shimmers, gorgeousness. I mean, there's not a dud in this palette. I've used every single color. I absolutely love this palette. I'm wearing it today in combination with the Alchemist palette, which I haven't had enough time to work with for it to make my top 5s of the year, but the Metal Matte palette has been talked about a lot on YouTube, so I don't want to go crazy with it, but let me show you my favorite colors out of this palette. I like to use Ribbon and Silk, which are these 2 purples. Glitz is a nice lid shade. Twinkle as well, I love for the lid. And Volt, I think is my favorite color in this entire palette. So there I've got Ribbon, Silk, Twinkle, and Volt. Ribbon, Silk, Twinkle, and Volt. And are you noticing a trend? I like the purples. Ribbon is just a matte, sort of straight up dark-ish purple that's really good for blending in the crease and darkening things up a little bit. Silk, is my preferred crease shade and transition shade. More of a transition shade in this palette. Twinkle is just super pretty on the lid, and Volt is a great outer third, outer V color. It's a nice dark, smoky purple. So good, so good. Last category for the day is lips, and kicking it off at number 5, we have Kat Von D's liquid lipstick in Requiem. It is a nice mauve-ish nude shade for liquid lips. Hers are a little drying on me, but I love how they look, and they're super opaque, and they're easy to apply, and you can't really beat that. So it's kind of like a lavender mauve nude. It's really pretty. It's really, really pretty. In spot number 4, now this is from the Urban Decay Revolution line, but they also have this shade in their new Vice line, so you can get it, and that is Sheer Rapture. This is kind of like my everyday, random, goes with anything sort of pinky nude. And it's not as sheer as you might think. It's pretty sheer, but it's not super sheer, and I really like it. It gives a nice wash of color. It wears well. It fades gradually, so you don't end up having patchy looking lips. It's moisturizing. It feels really nice. Not long wearing in terms of, it's not designed to be long wear, but it does wear well enough that it doesn't transfer super easily. You do have to reapply throughout the day, but thoroughly enjoy the color and the formula of the Urban Decay Vice line. Keep it up. Love it. I have a dozen Vice lipsticks by now. Number 3, and this, I'm going to show you my favorite color, but I will say I've got 4 of these, and I love all of them. And this is the Rimmel Provocalypse line. Now, this is my favorite red of all times at this point. Love it. This is called Play With Fire. And I have a few of these, and I love every single one of them. They are one of those two-phase where you put the color stain on first, and then you top it with a glossy top coat. But that doesn't bother me at all, and I actually like it because the stain wears really, really well, and you can just reapply the top coat. I wore this recently to a wedding, a New Year's Eve wedding. Congratulations to my cousin Susie and her wonderful husband Nick. I wore this to the wedding, and I had drinks, lots of drinks. I had a full-on dinner. I had more drinks. They had late-night pizza since it was a late-night wedding, so we could see the clock strike midnight and all that good stuff. I literally never reapplied this, and I got home at the end of the night, and it still looked great. So I'm a huge fan of the Rimmel Provocalypse line. This is my favorite red of all times. Also makes your teeth look nice and white. It's kind of a, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a blue-based red, but it's got a tiny, tiny bit of blue in there. Love it. Bringing us to number 2, and this was actually on my hate it list for a long time, and then I just learned to love it. It is the Too Faced Melted Matte in the color Child Star, and I did not like these initially because when I would apply them, I like to press my lips together, and they would get all goopy and nasty, and they never sat well. Well, the trick is you have to apply it without ever pressing your lips together, and once it's dry, you can press your lips together all you want, but while it's wet, do not press the lips together. And once I figured that out, I loved it. And this is just a perfect sort of brownish nude. I love it. It's beautiful. It's probably my new favorite nude of the year in terms of long wear lipsticks. But it didn't beat out number 1, which is what I'm wearing today, and I reach for all the time since it came out. This is from Rimmel. It is the Kate Moss. Unfortunately, it is a limited edition, so get it while you can. It is still out there, but get it while you can. It is shade number 14, and it's just another beautiful nude. And I like it. It's slightly pinky. It's one of those my lips but better. You know, I'm pretty pale, so my lips are pretty pale too. But it's not too pale, so it just gives your lips just enough color without lightening anything up, without looking too dark, without looking too pink, without looking too brown. I wear it all the time. It's not a long wear lipstick. You have to reapply it throughout the day, but I love the color. It's comfortable. I think it's called Lasting Finish by Kate is the official name. But it's super moisturizing. It feels great. It degrades gracefully. Top, I reached this, I need to buy more of them because once this goes out of being available, I will be sad. So I need to buy more. It's good stuff. Definitely my top lip of 2016. So there you have it for eyes and lips, my top 5s of 2016. We will have one more video. Subscribe if you would like a notification when that video comes out, and that one will cover skincare and primers, base type stuff, and face makeup. So that's what's left. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. Swatchy! Thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to watch this video and hang out and geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate it. Take care of each other. Have yourselves an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Have a good one. Bye-bye.